You're looking at one of the most volatile markets in the world today. Oh, sure, it's just a quiet residential street in an affluent American neighborhood. But beneath the surface, something frightening is happening. Late at night, when everyone is asleep, and increasingly even in broad daylight, criminals are at work. Burglars, drug addicts, molesters, threatening our homes, turning once carefree families into huddled clusters of worried people, among whom there is a growing demand for effective protection. And this is another part of the vast and expanding marketplace, the business community, where concerned proprietors encounter losses from crime just as frequently as they do the threat of rising prices or nearby competition. And they too require protection, protection that today's law enforcement agencies are hard-pressed to provide. Added to the increasing menace of criminal break-in, both homeowner and businessmen are also faced with the ever-present danger of fire, with 8,000 lives claimed and billions of dollars in property losses each year. With shrinking municipal budgets having a serious effect on the equipment and manpower available to fight this problem, there is a growing need for other sources of protection. The inescapable conclusion is clear. In today's society, the public must play a large part in providing this needed protection for themselves. And it is this fact that has fostered an unprecedented growth pattern in the security industry, with the leading research firm of Frost & Sullivan referring to the automatic alarm sector as, quote, the growth industry of the 1980s. Hi, my name is Bill Dauphin, and for the next 15 minutes, I'd like you to join me as we take an in-depth look at the phenomenon of today's automatic burglar and fire alarm business, as seen through the eyes of the management, the distributors, the sales and technical personnel, and the customers of the Dictograph security system. Dictograph, with a name and a background in electronics that dates from 1902, pioneered the field of residential security with the world's first automatic home fire alarm system in 1946. Now, since that time, they have ranked as an innovating leader in the industry, protecting more homes than any other company in the world, in addition to vast numbers of businesses, industries, and institutions, providing these customers with a constantly expanding variety of security products and services. Operating through a network of independent distributors who run their own individually franchised businesses, Dictograph is represented in virtually every important American city. Today, there are authorized Dictograph offices in 150 cities, from Maine to Florida, from New York to California, as well as in Canada, France, and Italy. Distributors come to Dictograph from almost every walk of life, as do the organization's sales and technical personnel as well. But there's something a little different about Dictograph people, and Allentown, Pennsylvania distributor Al Taylor sums it up particularly well. Mr. Taylor, why is it everyone I talk to keeps using the phrase, the Dictograph difference?
Well, that's not a question I can answer briefly, Bill. But if I had to single out the one most important factor, I would have to say it was a heavy emphasis on life safety.
But doesn't every company concentrate on that?
Well, to some degree, but in most cases not. See, in most instances, when people think of burglary, they think in terms of saving their property or the material things in the home, without any thought to life safety at all. But since Dictograph got its start in life safety through selling fire alarm systems, this is carried over into our burglar alarm field today.
Okay. Now tell me, why be a Dictograph distributor? With all the companies manufacturing alarm products today, couldn't you just open your doors, buy what you need, and be your own man?
Hey, Bill, I am my own man. Well, this is my distributorship. We have our own office staff, we have our own central station, we have our own installation department, our own service department. We're growing constantly. We're a very well-established alarm company in the area and very highly respected.
But why do you need Dictograph? What do they give you that the other companies won't?
Because, well, Dictograph starts where most companies, manufacturers leave off. I got my full distributor's training from Dictograph, and all distributors go into New Jersey to our headquarters, and they have 2 weeks of extensive training. At any time any of my installation men or service people have any kind of a problem at all in the field, all the engineers at Dictograph are only a phone call away, and a collect phone call at that.
The account executive program, exactly what do you get from that?
Well, actually my connection with the rest of the distributors throughout the country.
In what way?
Let's say, for example, that a distributor in Oregon runs into a specific problem and he finds a solution to this. Well, this is transferred to us, you see, through our account executives. They help us in all our sales efforts.
You mentioned all these various elements. Just how does a company tie all this together?
Well, when you tie all this together, we have a top management team that's truly responsive to all our needs. Not only mine, but to our accounting staff, anybody that we have in our organization.
Mr. Taylor, tell me, exactly how well do you do financially as a Dictograph distributor?
Well, Bill, after 20 years, first as a salesman, then a sales manager, and then for the past 6 years as a distributor, my own distributorship, life gets better and better. I have a beautiful home on a golf course that my wife, my children, and my grandchildren enjoy very much. And we're even building a vacation home up in Maine, something that we've wanted for a long, long time. Bill, if you really want to get an insight into this business, why don't you talk to some other Dictograph people? I'm not unique. There are plenty of happy Dictograph people all over the country.
No sooner said than done. This is Tom Gowan, Chief Installation Technician for Dictograph's Washington, D.C. Area Distribution Center, Guardian Alarm Sales. Tom, just what does Dictograph have to offer someone interested in a technical career?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's an opportunity for growth in a growing industry, Bill. Our installers and service technicians can make a very handsome income. We're not talking about just enough to make ends meet or to get by. We're talking about enough to afford them the nicer things in life. And what's more important, job security. In fact, one of my installers on my team this year is celebrating his 25th year with our company. And that's just one I can think of a few, however. What's most important is the fact that they like what they're doing. It's not just a job to them. It's quite a responsibility working with products such as these, and we do have quite an impressive product line of equipment without equal in the field. Besides our product line, we have a very impressive training program which enables us to deal with the product effectively, be able to get it installed and to service it and maintain it on a regular basis. And the people behind the scene, the people that we don't see, I myself see, are the people responsible for putting this product in our hands, the tools to do our job. And it goes right down from manufacturing to warehouse inventory, right down to quality control, and they're the ones that make it available to us when we need it. We're dealing with lives, and if you think that's satisfying to distributors, you can just imagine what it means to us, the people out in the field. And you can see this badge here. Well, to me, this is a badge of honor.
Speaking of badges of honor, here's a man who's won more than his share of honors during his illustrious sales career with Dictograph's distributorship in Richmond, Virginia. A past Dictograph National Sales Champion, Ned Andrews is always right in the thick of the company's many and various competitions, and has also been credited with helping to develop a program of sales development that has spread throughout the Dictograph network and bears his name. Ned, how are things going?
Well, Bill, when it comes to selling protection, the Dictograph type of protection and protecting people in Richmond, things are really going well.
Ned, I keep hearing that Dictograph affords people a very good income. Just what does that mean to you?
Well, I certainly wouldn't minimize an income potential because, like anyone else, I like the good life. My family has nice clothing, we have a new home, we take a nice vacation, and we have a little something in the bank.
What about recession in the general economy? Just how does that affect you?
Well, I guess, fortunately for us, I can say that it really doesn't affect our business because as recession sets in, crime goes up. And, of course, protection is not a luxury item.
Ned, tell me something about your background before you came to Dictograph.
Bill, I was a professional before I came to Dictograph. I'm a graduate accountant. But I find that working for Dictograph is also very professional. Everything is done according to plan. It's more a matter of having a track to run on and doing things the correct way, just as any profession would.
Okay, Ned. What about this famous Ned Andrews Letter? Tell me about that.
Well, I have to smile when I tell you about that, Bill, and I admit to enjoying the recognition that has come to me from that letter. And basically, it's a very simple idea. I just put together a letter and decided that if I hand wrote it in pen and ink and took a selected group of people, businessmen, doctors, lawyers, and sent it to them, that I'd have a better chance of getting their attention and ultimately an appointment with them. In fact, it worked so well that the following year at the convention, they were going over some ideas for sales development, and they had me explain the letter, and it really caught on, and the name kind of stuck. In fact, it's really been kind of embarrassing because a while back my sales were down for a couple of weeks, and my own boss told me I wasn't sending out enough Ned Andrews letters.
That's a good one. Now, wait a minute. You mentioned something about a convention. Why don't you tell me about that?
Well, that's really kind of the highlight of our year, but actually we have training programs going on all through the year. We have many seminars at different offices around the country. We have regional meetings at 4 locations throughout the country, and then there's a President's Council that's made up of the top 25 distributors in the country, and they really meet once a year to determine policy and, you know, the way things will be handled for the coming year. But the convention is really the highlight of the whole year, because everybody comes together. There's probably about 800 people, wives too, and then it's a lot of fun, a lot of work, but it's, you know, I just can't say enough good things about it.
Ned, this convention sounds like a lot of fun. Is it that way every year?
Yes, Bill, it really is. It's fun, and it's also very educational for the people that attend, and there's a reason for that. Just like everything else that Dictograph does, it's very well organized and very well planned. We don't believe in leaving things to chance. We believe in succeeding on purpose.
Succeeding on purpose. And one of the ways in which that is accomplished in the Dictograph network is by concentrating on a program of sales manager development, a program that assures growth by allowing qualified sales representatives to advance into management activity, where they duplicate themselves again and again. Now here, Pete Hemming, regional sales manager for one of Dictograph's largest distributorships, New Jersey Security Services, is conducting a sales workshop. Pete, this kind of looks like going back to school all over again.
In a way, Bill, it is. In this business, we feel it's important to get back to the basics regularly. This leads to consistency, and that's the name of the game in this business.
Pete, just how did you get into sales management?
In my case, Bill, it was a gradual thing. My first chance came as a division manager, where I had the responsibility of one man. From there, I then became a branch manager. And just recently, I was appointed a regional sales manager, which is having a larger area to concern myself with, and a number of teams to deal with. It's a real challenge, but when you think about the opportunity of seeing more and more people, it's really worth it.
Not to mention the increased income.
You're right, Bill. It's really nice to have that financial security. And each step up the ladder, that has increased. And believe me, don't let anybody tell you money isn't important. It helps make the other things happen.
Pete, does everyone take that gradual route that you took?
Not necessarily. We have some representatives that move into management in 1 year or less. And in some areas of the country, they hire men as managers and train them. We're able to do this because at our international headquarters in Florham Park, we have this training program for managers. And it helps them go out and do the job as managers right away.
Pete, let's get specific. Here's part of your team right now. Just exactly what do they do to go about servicing the public?
Well, Bill, without going into too much detail, I guess you could say we follow all the fundamentals of lead development. But we do spend a lot of time on 3 important areas. We feel at Dictograph it's important for us to maintain contact with our existing clients. This is important because we are able to keep their information and facts up to date, see if their system needs any additions. And plus, if we do this, we are showing the customers that we care. Another important area of our lead development centers around our relationship we are able to achieve with other professionals, people who can put us in contact with homeowners and businessmen who need our protection. I'm talking about real estate, architects, builders, and especially the insurance agents.
With insurance people playing such an important role in Dictograph's business development program, it seemed like a good idea to seek out an insurance professional and get the story from his viewpoint. Now, we're sitting here in the offices of Mr. Bruce Hill, who's been kind enough to give us a few moments of his time. Mr. Hill, as an insurance professional, just what do you have in common with Dictograph?
You might say that both Dictograph and the insurance industry are in the same business. We're both out to protect the assured. With the extensive crime problem that we have today, it's necessary for many clients to install burglar alarms in order to obtain
proper insurance.
But why Dictograph? I mean, couldn't you tell your clients to go out and buy any particular system?
The insurance business is a service business. We provide a protection, but we provide a service. We feel that Dictograph provides the same type of personal service to the commercial account and the personal account as we do.
That sounds good. But just how can you be sure that your clients are going to get that kind of service from Dictograph?
We have thoroughly checked out Dictograph. We have spoken to the people at Dictograph. We have spoken to the various fire and police chiefs in our immediate area. All have given a great review.
If the opinion of public safety officials is important to the insurance community, then certainly anyone considering a career association with Dictograph Security Systems is entitled to hear for him or herself what they have to say about the company as well. Now, here with me now are two outstanding public servants, men who have risen to the very pinnacle of their profession. This is Howard Shook, Chief of Police of Middletown Township, Pennsylvania, past president of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. And here we have Curtis Volkamer, retired Chief Fire Marshal of the City of Chicago, and a past president of the International Association of Fire Chiefs. Chief, what can you tell us about Dictograph's relationship with the fire service?
Over the years, I've worked very closely with Dictograph, enjoying the important work of key company executives on a number of committees, not only the International Association of Fire Chiefs or the IFC Foundation, but NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association, as well. Dictograph upholds and maintains the highest standards of performance. And they have never changed their policy of recommending the maximum type of systems protection affordable, even if it may have been to the company's monetary commercial advantage to do otherwise. There is no question about it. Life safety and the highest standards of professional ethics come first with Dictograph.
Thank you, Chief. And now, Chief Shook, what can you tell us about Dictograph and any help they may have given the law enforcement community in the area of crime prevention?
During the time of my presidency, I've come to work very closely with the executives of the Dictograph system. They have provided many training programs for the private sector and the public sector, as well as training programs for the National Crime Institute in Louisville, Kentucky. And during their tireless efforts of the work that they have tried to put forth, I have never known them for any instance to ask for anything, but they've always been on the hand to make sure and to give of their time and services for the protection of the lives of the community of either any police department or throughout the United States.
Gentlemen, I thank you. It was a pleasure sharing your thoughts. So far, you have heard from a wide variety of Dictograph people, and a few more from outside the company who shed their own light on this portrait of an organization. But in the long run, the true effectiveness of such a company is to be found in the words of those whom the company serves, the families and businesses that they protect. Each year, hundreds of letters are received by Dictograph distributors, letters that outline most dramatically the circumstances under which Dictograph alarm systems have been activated. The most compelling of these are to be found in the pages of Fireball magazine, published by Dictograph for the information of its personnel and customers. From Albuquerque, New Mexico, racing car driver Al Unser writes,
"We both feel more at ease when we're traveling. What is interesting is our insurance carrier has broadened our coverage and eliminated some exclusions since we installed the system, which is icing on the cake."
From San Francisco, California, Mr. Michael Merrill writes,
"As you are aware, we had a fire in our home. I was traveling at the time, and my wife and children were alone in the house. The fire alarm alerted my wife, and one can only conjecture what the consequences might have been had she not been forewarned."
From Youngstown, Ohio, the president of the Ohio Hardwood Lumber Company writes,
"I was awakened at 6 a.m. by a message informing me of a robbery at my office. Upon arriving, I found the front door open and the police inside. Your alarm equipment had performed perfectly, averting a robbery as well as notifying the police, my secretary, and myself."
Comments like these go on and on. But the one I'm holding right now was received just as we began filming this report, and it sums up much of what we've been saying today. It's from Dr. R. William Bradway of Columbus, Ohio, and he says in part, "Not only did the system warn us of fire and smoke that even the fire department could not find after thorough inspection, but it sounded a second alarm, calling the fire department back to the scene. even though we had disconnected the system to stop the alarm. This time, smoke and flame were obvious to everyone. Had we been away, the damage would have been much greater. Had my family been asleep without such a system, it would have been the end of the story. I do not need to be reminded of my indebtedness to the quality of the Dictograph security systems you installed for me. This experience has made us all firm believers in our investment.
These are not actors. They are real distributors, salesmen, technicians, executives, and public officials. The story they have told is one of quality, satisfaction, respect, prestige, opportunity, and challenge. All this is waiting in the Dictograph organization for qualified people willing to dedicate themselves to a mutual goal. Remember, our job is protecting lives and property. If that seems as important to you as it does to us, there's a place for you in the Dictograph crusade against fire and crime.